doing?
GM, I'm having a very TGIF Friday today.
I love it.
Loving that it's Friday. Very excited for the weekend, and it's been a big week. It's been a really fun one. What about you?
It's been a huge week. It's been gigantic. And also adding to this week is we all have a new voice here that's going to be helping us out on the Vayner NFT from the Vayner NFT account. D-Rob, how are we doing on this Friendly Friday?
Doing great. Love to be here. I've been here, a few times as myself, and now I'm here also as myself, just with a different PFP.
D-Rob in the house.
So what we're going to be talking about a lot of it today is about, what's happening on Sunday and how we're approaching maybe loved ones, in particular, maybe moms, about, Mother's Day and NFTs, about how we're maybe educating, talking about it with other people, and just bringing it maybe to the forefront of conversations around dinner tables. Hopefully, if we can get outside, if the weather's nice this weekend, around picnics and stuff like that. So preparing our mothers for this NFT space. And I guess I'll start off a little bit where it did kind of start off with a dinner table discussion where, I was talking about CryptoPunks and NFTs. So that was just kind of through, I don't know, they just absorbed it through conversation where they asked, well, what are these NFTs? And they knew about my endeavors into dipping into cryptocurrency in the past. And what do you spend this cryptocurrency on? Well, the answer for that was very simple, NFTs. And then that transpired into CryptoPunks. So I was able to have those discussions with family members, not only with my mom and my dad, but also nieces and nephews that were just around that type of conversation. And that type of conversation led to education where they're able to kind of track and follow what's happening in this NFT space. Wondering if you guys have any personal experiences of talking with, members of loved ones in your family or circles of friends about, establishing what are NFTs to maybe someone who's never heard about them before.
Yeah, but I want to ask one follow-up with you. When was the first time you talked to your mom about NFTs?
Very interesting you said that. We had it actually started with
coming through, okay?
Yep, you're coming through.
You're fine. I'm sorry, I was on mute there.
Okay.
I was talking to a muted thing, so I'm glad you said something. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to finish the thought. So very interesting you say that because it was 2 Christmases back where I found out my niece was actually live streaming CryptoPunk information. So I actually have it on my YouTube right now, or on my Twitter handle, where I'm looking at YouTube, where the CryptoPunks back then were 4.4 Ethereum, or about $5,000. And she heard me talking about CryptoPunk prices. And so she started streaming it and streaming the prices of CryptoPunks and NFTs. So then that's when my mom's just like, did you see this, what your niece is doing? And she's actually making YouTube videos of CryptoPunks. So I kind of don't want to say pump the brakes on her producing that content, but I kind of took the reins over because I wanted to make sure at least the content was educational, somewhat fact finding, and I wanted her to, continue being I don't know, she was in either 7th, 8th, freshman year, sophomore in high school, somewhere in that range, just to continue staying with her education. So to answer your question, about 2 years ago, I spoke with my mom, my dad, family members about NFTs and kind of showed them what tangible art was in the digital sense.
Yeah, I just think it's so interesting because for anyone who was in the space really early, and you were in the space much earlier than I was, I'm always fascinated by the people who they talked about the space to. And so in this case, we're talking about our mamas. The first time I talked to my mom about NFTs, she was very confused. And I think I was a little confused myself too. I was like, I don't know exactly what it is, but I put a lot of money into it because Gary Vaynerchuk told me to. And I was trying to understand VFriends, and as I was learning more about it, because obviously that was my first one, as I was learning more about it, I was a little reluctant to tell my mom about it because I was very insecure. I was like, I think it's this, I'm not sure. And because of the blockchain, people could find out exactly how much money you spent on it. And I was like, was this the dumbest thing I've ever done? Like, what am I doing right now? And then once I started working in it at Vayner, that's when she was like, wait, so what are these NFT things? Like, you can actually have like a stable job in a space that's super new that, you know, can be very volatile. And that's what got her to at least start listening to it. D-Rob, what about you? Like, when was the first time you talked to your mom about NFTs, and how did that conversation go?
Yeah, so I think, you know, my mom's on the younger side, so she finally like understood the social media job that I had right before this, right? So I had gotten that through, and then all of a sudden I'm talking about NFTs, and she's like, well, what is that? Like, is that related to social media? And I was like, in a way. So I tried to take it from that perspective of like, okay, so like you have these apps, right? And then like that, the technology behind that, and then this is like the new technology that's coming in. And like at the end of the day, I don't really know how much she understands, but she understands my job as far as like what I'm actually doing and like the purpose behind it. And I think one of the great things, I mean, probably a lot of people can say this about their mom, but with my mom, she's like, what you're doing, are you happy with it? Is it helping you get to where you need to go? And how can I support you? And I think like Nova, you just tweeted out a little while ago about how your mom is always your biggest supporter, even in the and I think that's just like a huge thing. And so, you know, every holiday when you get together with family, whether it's my mom or my grandma or like whoever, is always just like, so what's your job again? How's that going? And it's always a rough conversation. But you know, the fact that they're there to support it is good. But now I have a question for you guys. Where do you see your moms fitting in the Web3 world in the future? Like, how do we onboard our moms or just an older generation into this space?
I have a perfect loop in with that. Some people say piggyback, but I like to do the kangaroo because it's almost a precursor to the question. Is I remember when my mom was really, it was really difficult for her to acknowledge, how do I pay online? Like how do I link my bank account to my Web 2.0 services? And the funny thing is my mom worked at a bank. So she was a bank teller. So when people came in to try to whatever make money transactions, like, well, you should do online banking. And so like having that transformation in Web 2.0, where you're giving your router number now to a Web 2.0 site so that you can have direct deposit, was something honestly like 20 years ago was completely foreign to a lot of people. And a lot of people that my parents' age would never do that and would never do that. And maybe some of them still don't do it and they still have their money underneath their mattress. But it's like the same thing now is it's like, well, why would you want to have digital currency? Well, I mean, look at it. People are accepting it now. People, you can use it. You can transfer it, transfer rates on it. If you're maybe buying real estate at and large action, the fees are really minimal on it. So it's teaching them that this is a mirror image of what happened in the Web 2.0 space, in the Web 3.0 touching now. So it is, I don't want to say recycled, but it's new technology with a recycled mindset of how we're trying to integrate and make things easier and faster for people to make payments. Now, looping back into my mom, she knows I don't have an artistic bone in my body. And for her to say, you're working in like digital art, and I'm like, no, I'm working with the technology which makes digital artists get paid. So it's the equalizer that she loved out of it. And that's where she kind of can grasp it a little bit. Very much so that she asked me for one of my CryptoPunk stickers, which I thought that she would never even think about. But she's, hey, I saw you have lots of likes and people like stickers. Can I have one? So I gave her some and she gives it to her friends. And now she's having that conversation with her morning coffee group at McDonald's with all her retirees talking about this stuff. So that's what it goes. We're all products of our environment. And I'm just trying to be a good product and teaching my mom, who's taught me so much along these ways.
Yeah, and one thing you just mentioned towards the end, like, I feel like our parents are always thinking about, oh, I love the picture, that pinned tweet up there with the picture of your mom holding the photo of you. That's so sweet. I feel like our parents are often thinking about what they're going to tell people when they ask about their son or daughter. They're like, how do I answer that question? That's why they're like, what do you do? It's basically like, how do I respond to people when they ask me what you do? So I noticed that my mom she doesn't really care about the technology and the value of the industry. She more wants to understand it to be able to explain it to others. But that's, who cares what the motivation is at first, right? Because the more she starts learning about it, the more she's like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, I get that. And she just always has so many questions now. And actually her main, and I thought of that because also she has my Cool Blue card on her refrigerator, which I just found out whenever I went to visit her. I thought that was so sweet. I was like, oh my gosh, you have Cool Blue on your refrigerator. But what she loves about it, or what she gets excited about, is how much fun everything is. So she thinks it's absolutely nuts that I dress as, like, paint myself blue, wear a wig, and dress as an avatar at these events. She is fascinated by it. She's like, I don't understand why anyone would do that. And she just thinks it's so funny. So she's like, I want to go to these events with you. I want to see it in person. And then whenever she tells people about it, she wants to be able to explain it to them. So that's what really gets my mom to want to understand NFTs, is like, this is fun. You know, she likes, like, meeting my friends who I work with. She likes meeting just people in the space. So I think that's one way to do it too. Like, bring your moms with you, literally with you. Because sometimes when you just send a picture of an NFT, they're like, this does not make sense. But if you show them what you're doing, bring them there, I think that's the first step.
I love the visual aspect of your mom currently getting the magnet out, putting Cool Blue up on the refrigerator. Very similar she did when Cool Blue was running around in kindergarten trying to spell the words Cool Blue for the first time. And it just gives, and it's, I think that's the thing, is the support that our family gives to us throughout all this. Being a teacher for 21 years and then all of a sudden changing into this field, there was questions through my mom. There was questions through family members. But just like D-Rob said, are you happy? And I love what I'm doing. I don't even view it as work. I view it as just doing what's best for what's next. And what is next? And what does that involve? And what does that entail? Well, it's helping others in my mind and educating others. So I'm just educating others in a different capacity right now. D-Rob, I have a question for you. Has there been any magnet refrigerator worthy NFT things that, you know, your mom brought to light that kind of give you the encouragement or, you know, the self-esteem to continue on in this space?
Yeah, so for me, you know, it's a little funnier because, like, I don't design NFTs personally or anything like that. I'm not, like, super into the collector's game at this point because I'm 25 and trying to pay off bills and everything. But for me, I'm on the social team, and so there are times when I post something and, like, I'll post it on my personal because I'm really proud of it, and I'll be like, hey, check out, like, this thing that we just did. And then my mom will, like, reshare that, and then that's how I know, like, okay, I hit the golden standard. Is like my family, who barely understands what I'm doing, is cool enough to, like, share this. So I feel like that's, like, the modern day fridge for me, is when it gets duplicated onto social through my family, which I think is really cool. And kind of bouncing off what I think it was Leslie who was saying it before, with as far as bringing people with us. I think for me, it's almost like watching a family TV show together. So, for example, growing up, I loved Avatar: The Last Airbender. Then during pandemic, we were looking for a new show, like, as a family to corporately watch together. And I was like, want to revisit this with me? And they all said, sure. And now, like, everybody loves it in my family, right? So even though it's a cartoon based for kids, you can still bring your parents in to love it. And I think it kind of works the same way with NFTs, that, like, even if they don't quite understand at first, if you bring them with you, then they can start to love it just as much, or in a different way than you do. right? So I think now also looking at it from the reverse, because I know we got this comment from our tweet before. How do we talk about it with our kids? So let's look at it from the reverse. If we're a parent, how do we talk about NFTs with kids and start bringing them into this new space as well? Nova, I know you had a reply, so I'll throw it to you first.
All right. Well, I replied there again, product of environment. So when I come back from the IRL events, like we go through and we look at the different stickers and we look at the different handouts that I got. And he does get to pass judgment on the art that he has tangible in his hand. Oh, this is a cool sticker. Oh, what does this say? Oh, this is just writing. Oh, this has writing with whatever attached to it. So then now I'm able to have conversations when I come back from these are technically business meetings and come back and, get that hug for him when I'm running into the house. And that's like one of the first things he looks for. It's not, what did you buy me? It's what cool things did you get at the conference? Did you meet up with Best RX? Did you see Cool Blue? Stuff like that. Cause same thing, he's sitting with my wife and they're looking at the socials. And when you get the thumbs up or approval from family members, you struck up a decent chord and you're doing the right thing. So with that is just incorporating the experience with them. For my particular CryptoPunk you're looking at with the big shades, clown nose, and tassel hat, my son picked that out. And I had a budget and I was going to buy a CryptoPunk that day. And I go, which one would you buy if you can buy any of these? And he pointed to this one. And I go, why'd you pick that? And he goes, it has the most colors. It pretty much did. It has 4 variations of red. It has blue. It has green. It has black lipstick. It actually has a golden earring, which is a hidden trait. So it has a lot of the color attributes for it. And I didn't even think of it at the time, but this was a female CryptoPunk. And he had no idea at all, nor did it matter to me. Later, he discovered that, and I mentioned it to him, and all he responded with was cool. So I don't care if my son wants to play with G.I. Joes. I don't care if my son wants to play with Barbies. He's going to pick up something that looks cool and is going to play with it. And I knew that was the passing approval. I found a CryptoPunk that someone younger found cool. So I know at least that would be cooler than what I think is cool, because younger kids find cooler stuff than older people, let's face it. And I just went with it. And even with that, if you're looking at the live stream now, I wear a Chewbacca onesie. He picked out my apparel for it. So now I'm letting him kind of pick out what is viewed as cool. Behind me, I have a onesie that he wore when he was 3 to 4 years old. He had the same onesie. So now we have assimilation. So just talking about it with them, having them be a part of it. And then also what they're watching, because he's watching YouTube videos anyways. So I say, hey, how about you watch how to create things in Sandbox rather than in Roadblocks? Or how about you continue creating in Minecraft and in Roadblocks rather than watching people just game it in those particular gaming platforms? So now he's actually interested in building, because he sees the pixelations of my CryptoPunk and he says, hey, I did build a CryptoPunk in my Minecraft world. So now we can have conversations about it. So for me, it's about spending time and bridging those loves and passions, NFTs, and obviously my son, but bringing them and then having those conversations around the dinner table.
I also just want to mention real quick that for those listening, even though I work with Novo, I've never actually seen his face. I've only seen his crypto face or his Bored Ape face, which means that I probably know his son better than him technically. So I just think that's a really funny element to throw out there. Leslie, did you have something to say on the subject?
Oh my God, I'm dying. That's hilarious. That's such a good, oh, that's so funny. But Nova, you brought up something about your son, about him being creative. And I'm thinking, okay, I don't have kids yet in the space. No, I mean at all, or in the space. But Sebastian, the senior vice president of Vayner NFT, does. And he sent me a photo one time of his daughter drawing Cool Blue. So he did something similar to what Crypto Novo did, where he brought back all the cards from a conference and then shared them with his children. And she started drawing Cool Blue. She started drawing a World of Women avatar. So that was, I feel like that's one way to show kids. It's kind of similar to what I was saying with my mom. Like, the fun part of everything. And kids are so creative. Like drawing these avatars could be a way for them to begin to start learning and understanding at least about the art part of NFTs, which I thought is so fascinating. And I know a lot of people will already invest in NFTs like for their children. I actually gave my WowG, I don't remember what it was called, Allow List, Friends List, whatever that was called, to Sebastian's daughter for just to help her like get into the space. And it was her first NFT. And similarly, like in the opposite direction, I did something similar to that for my mom. I picked out a World of Women for my mom that was a warrior. And once I showed her, I was like, this is yours. So she doesn't understand how to set up a wallet. She doesn't care to set up a wallet. She doesn't want to scroll through OpenSea, but she keeps, just like I keep Cool Blue, she keeps her warrior World of Women as the background of her phone and as the picture of herself as her contact, in the same way I do with Cold Blue. So it's her way of feeling like she's connected and like she's part of it. And I think we can do that with children as well, if we want to actually set them up for them growing into these NFTs, avatars, and understanding them better.
Seb, Seb had the same thing. His Maximus drew my CryptoPunk.
Yeah.
And he sent it to me and I go, mint it. And he goes, how? I go, you figure out how to mint it and I'll buy it. So now it's it's teaching, not giving someone a fish, it's teaching someone how to fish. So now he has the experience with his family members minting it. I believe he was on vacation when he did it and he minted it and I live bought it on my streams. And now he comes back and he goes, oh my gosh, we're at dinner and they were honestly out to dinner. And he's watching it. And then they got home and they watched the live minting as a family. And there it is.
God, and now he's a creator.
And now he's a creator. And it's better art than I can ever produce. And I love it. I have it on my Twitter right now. It's streaming live. But that's what it's about, is about getting that family in there. And that's what Seb does, product of his environment. His family members are drawing CryptoPunks just for the fun of it. Now they're minting it, and that's what it is. So how do you get mom involved in it? Well, maybe mom does have a passion or has an art, or maybe she can crochet a wicked tassel hat. And there's maybe some tassel hat owners out there that may need those for IRL events. Well, now you can weave up those tassel hat, get an NFT as a placeholder for it, and educate others on it through all ages and demographics for all my aliens, apes, and zombies.
I love that so much. And also, like, kind of what Leslie was saying, and Novo actually both, is like giving the NFT to your family members that like describes them to you, I think is super personal. So it's almost like instead of giving like a Mother's Day card, you're like, Mom, this is a warrior NFT in Leslie's case. And it's like, this because you're a warrior to me because of this, this, and this, and this. And like, even if you don't explain it like that, there's still like that heartfelt, this is the meaning, and this is who you are to me. And really, I think what we're seeing here is that, NFTs are a family thing. It doesn't have to just be you alone. We already know that our NFT fam is family, but then bringing our own fam into it as well. We're just trying to make one big happy community. So that's like kind of why we're here and what the point is to what we're doing, right?
Buy your mom a wow. I think the best thing we could do, especially not just to bring women into the space or people who aren't familiar with NFTs, don't own an NFT yet, and our moms in the space, is to take the burden off of them at first and buy something for them that you think might resonate with them, that they might like, and that obviously you can afford.
But here's the wonderful thing with it. You can mint these things. You can do lazy minting. There's side chains. You can create digital art. It doesn't have to really cost much, just like going out and picking up a Hallmark card. We're not getting paid sponsorship through that, just naming it off the top of my head. But, it's something that can last in a wallet for a longer time, very similar to maybe that small picture that you got for the wallet-sized picture that mom and dad might have in there forever. It could be the same thing, but now in a digital sense. And it creates those conversations and educational pieces. So when your mom goes out and talks to their friends, oh, what's Cool Blue doing these days? Oh, what's D-Rob doing these days? They can say, well, they're into NFTs and this is what an NFT is, rather than saying, oh, they're messing around with computer stuff or leaving it generic. So, having those conversations. And with that being said, pick up the phone, call mom, tell her what's going on. Ask her if she knows what an NFT is or if she's heard about it. Because I'm sure just by having it on, having the radio tuned in or having it tuned in just to a TV, they have to hear about it just due to proximity to what's happening in social media in the 2.0 sense and even now in the web 3.0 sense. I know we got a couple minutes because we do need to hop for a meeting. Cool Blue or D-Rob, anything else? But Alan, thanks for listening. Other couple people in there and down there, thanks for listening. Appreciate it. Charles.
I think I heard a challenge somewhere in there that for all the listeners here, if you can afford it, of course, do some lazy minting, design your mom or a family an NFT and give it to them for this holiday, right? So it could be the worst drawing in the world, but we know that our moms don't care. Our moms cherish those. So let's give our moms a reason to enter this space, right? And give them their first NFT if they don't have one. I think that could be something really, really cool if we all look into that. And kind of this could be the explosion of moms entering in Web3 in a cool fashion, right?
Yes, that's the Mother's Day card that you give your mom this weekend. I love that so much. Nothing on my side. I think that's the perfect. I mean, that's the best takeaway we can have. And then, but I want to give a shout out to Alan Carroll, Hizzy, Aristotle, who got me into the space, by the way, and everyone else. Oh, Whisk, we have AP in the house. Jeremy, thank you so much to everyone who shows up every week. We see you. We love you. And we'll be here again next Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern.
Stay positive and love life. Peace.